Are we good? Good morning. We have established quorum. Please excuse the absence of Colt McCoy, Javid Anwar, and Juan Navarez due to duties requiring their attention elsewhere. Do I have a motion to approve these absences?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wilson. Second. Members, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes. Agenda item 1A is consideration and possible action to approve the resolution of appreciation for Lisa Cantu. It is a privilege for me to present this first item on our agenda, a resolution of appreciation for our outgoing student representative, Lisa Cantu. Lisa, I would like to read the resolution in full to the board and then invite you to say a few words. Whereas Lisa D. Cantu was appointed to the student representative on the board of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board by Governor Greg Abbott for a one-year term beginning June 1st, 2025, and whereas her tenure on the board, during her tenure, Mrs. Cantu served as an ex officio member of the Agency Operations Committee, the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success, and the Committee on Innovation, Data, and Education Analytics, contributing thoughtful perspectives and representing the interests and experiences of students across Texas. And whereas the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board values the perspectives, insights, and lived experiences of students in shaping higher education policy, particularly policies that directly affect student success, access, affordability, and workforce readiness. And whereas, through her service, Ms. Cantu brought professionalism, preparation, and thoughtful engagement to board deliberations, fostering productive exchanges of ideas while amplifying the voices of students and advocating passionately for the success of all those pursuing higher education in Texas. And whereas her service reflects a deep dedication to improving educational opportunities and outcomes for current and future students of Texas, helping to advance the board's mission of building a talent-strong Texas by fostering a highly skilled, educated, and innovative workforce. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, on the 23rd day of April 2026, express their sincere appreciation to Lisa D. Cantu for her exemplary service as a student member of the board and for her unwavering dedication to advancing higher education and preparing the next generation of talent to meet the evolving needs of Texas. And be it further resolved that the resolution be included in the minutes and that a copy of the resolution signed by the board members of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board be presented to Lisa Cantu in recognition of the high esteem in which she is held. Lisa, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Chair Hawk and board members and Commissioner Rosser. I think my just simple message is a quick thank you to everyone in the room. I think reflecting on the past year, it's hard to put into words just how much this board has meant to me, not only from the work that we do, but the people that I've met. I will echo a sentiment that Chair Heldenfeld mentioned yesterday at the foundation meeting, that the camaraderie and friendships built here are unparalleled. And I'm just deeply thankful for all of your encouragement and belief in not only me, but the work that we can do together. During my first board meeting, I had mentioned that I just knew that the future of higher education in Texas is bright because of the board members here and the agency staff. And I cannot think that any further and anymore. Any more than I do now. I'm just so thankful for all that y'all have done and all that y'all continue to do for students across Texas. It is so appreciated. And if I can ever be a resource or advocate for any of you, just know that I'm always in your corner. And thank y'all.
Members, do I have a motion to approve the resolution of appreciation for Student Representative Lisa Cantu?
Motion.
So moved by Mr. Richard Clemmer, and second. Any discussion? Members, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Agenda item 2 is the Commissioner's remarks.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Hawk. Thank you for the opportunity to share a few thoughts. And good morning, board members and those joining us online and those in the room with us today. To begin, I want to join Chair Hawk and the board in expressing my appreciation to Lisa Cantu for her service on the board as our student representative. Lisa, you've provided a valuable student perspective on a variety of discussion topics and shown dedication, engagement, and willingness to help improve higher education for students and families across the state. Thank you for being an enthusiastic, and I'll have to underscore, enthusiastic member of the board, and especially for your focus on post-secondary policy and being generous with your time over the last year. You attended more meetings than you were expected to and had to. You've joined more, like going to the Higher Ed Foundation Board, for example. And importantly, you coordinated meetings among your peers, your student leader peers, so that we could engage on substantive and timely topics around higher education policy. So thank you for your willingness to do that and help us engage with one of our really important stakeholder groups. We're going to miss you, but we also know that I don't think you're going away. I think you'll be around higher ed policy over the course of your career, and we'll look forward to following your successes as you do just that. I also want to join Chair Hawk in thanking Dr. Wong for his dedicated service to the board and for his deep commitment to expanding opportunities and improving outcomes for students across the state. I wish him every success and thank him for his commitment to public service. On the agenda today, we have, as we always do, a major policy discussion. Today, we will feature a third group of our 2025 Star Award recipients who are joining us today. We'll hear from representatives of South Plains College and the University of Texas at San Antonio. They'll share information about their efforts to strengthen and streamline college and career transitions, providing meaningful hands-on learning experiences, enhancing faculty engagement, and strengthening connections to our state's workforce. They'll each share insights into their work to help ensure students are well prepared to contribute to the economy and also to thrive individually. And I thank them for being here with us today. In our data insights section of the agenda, we'll hear from the Sam Houston State University College of Nursing, School of Nursing, about their SNAPY initiative. They're using coordinating board data tools to inform and develop deeper insights into their work. SNAPY is the Shared Nurse Academic Practice Partnership Initiative. The work is funded by the Coordinating Board's Nursing Innovation Grant Program, and it's a collaborative partnership with healthcare systems designed to address our state's nursing faculty shortage. They're not admiring the data in this case. They are doing something about the challenges revealed by analysis of the data. To better serve our students, employers, and our state, we have to collect the data, analyze it rigorously, and act on it thoughtfully, and that is exactly what the Sam Houston State University School of Nursing has done. By connecting practicing nurses with opportunities to serve as clinical instructors at Sam Houston State University, the nursing program is able to expand capacity and increase hands-on learning opportunities for students, while also strengthening a sustainable pipeline to meet the state's critical nursing workforce needs. I look forward to hearing more about the work and how it's operationalized in service of building a talent-strong Texas. Finally, the board will consider a series of rules and reports on today's agenda. Both require significant effort, and I'm appreciative of the agency staff who work to ensure that our rules are streamlined and as simple as possible, and that our reports provide timely data and actionable insights. Ms. Hawk, in the interest of time, I'll conclude my remarks there, and thank you, as always, for the opportunity to share some thoughts, and I appreciate the board's thoughtful engagement.
Thank you, Commissioner. Members, any questions for the Commissioner? Hearing none, we'll move on. Agenda item 3 is public testimony. We have received one request to provide public testimony regarding agenda item 11C, Board Rule Amendments to Chapter 4, Subchapter D, concerning dual credit partnerships between secondary schools and Texas public colleges. These proposed rules are not on the consent agenda. Ms. Autumn Selman, if you're in attendance, you may proceed to provide public testimony before the board. You may need to turn on your mic. Hit the button. There may be a button at the base of the mic. Okay. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay. For the record, my name is Miss Autumn Selman, and I am representing my home school, my dual credit student, and perhaps by default, I represent other students with other schools with qualified students who have limited access to in-person dual credit opportunities and wish to enroll in dual credit courses without regard to whether the students attend a public school or a private school, parochial school, including a homeschool. Specifically today, I'm humbly requesting this board approve, adopt, and make effective immediately agenda item 11C, which Actions, the implementation of House Bill 3041, Equal Access to Dual Credit Courses, now known as Section 51.9675 of the Texas Education Code. Thomas Jefferson wisely stated, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be." I rehearsed what I was going to say here at least 150 times this week. My student is the catalyst student of House Bill 3041. He was required to enroll in a co-op to attend in-person dual credit classes. And for issues that are not important at this time, there was an error and a university tried to withdraw him from that class through no fault of his own, denied him of due process, did not even inform him that he was being withdrawn. You ask for help from the bottom up and you get nothing but lawyers. You have nothing but a choice to lawyer up and seek protection from a court. After 2 protection orders, the institution was required to re-enroll my son, and in spite of missing 3 weeks of classes, he finished the class, scored an A in the class, including a 96 on the departmental college algebra final. House Bill 3041 requires dual access of dual credit to all students who are qualified, whether they attend a homeschool, a private school, or a public school. Unbridled discretion can become damaging and cause harm if left unchecked. The rules proposed and amended are a start, but institutions need to adopt policies where no student is discriminated against, no matter what type of school he or she attends. I hope you continue working on this matter, and thank you for this time to discuss this today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item 4 is consideration and possible action to approve the consent calendar. The consent calendar includes non-controversial items that we think can be approved without comment or discussion. This allows us to save time for other items that need more of our attention. Members, you've had time in advance to review these items. Does anyone want to add or remove any items from the consent calendar? Do I have a motion to approve agenda items 4A through 4J25 on the consent calendar? So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda items 5A through 5C are informational items. Members, you've had time in advance to review these items, which are provided for information only and do not require board action. Does anyone have any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Agenda item 6 is the major policy discussion. Major policy discussions are topics of interest where staff, policy experts, and stakeholders provide coordinating board members with information on higher education policy matters or initiatives that have the potential to impact Texas statewide. The major policy discussion today will focus on the 2025 STAR Awards, From Classroom to Career, A Future Ready Texas. Dr. Brandon Griggs, Assistant Commissioner for College and Career Advising, Ms. Heather Medley from South Plains College, and Dr. C.G. from the University of Texas at San Antonio will present this item and be available for questions. This item is for information only.
Good morning, Board. Chairperson Hawk, Commissioner Rosser. My name is Brandon Griggs, Assistant Commissioner for College and Career Advising, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board STAR Awards, specifically the Career Development and Transitions category, in which we recognize institutions preparing Texans to transition successfully into a rapidly changing workforce. Next slide. The 2025 STAR Awards honors excellence in student success, workforce education, and career development and transitions. We selected one four-year institution and one community, vocational, or technical college in each of the categories, reflecting our priorities of building a talent-strong Texas and our commitment to pathways that lead to economic opportunity. At our previous meeting, you heard efforts to strengthen student success across the state. Today's honorees in the career category are transforming how students explore careers, build skills, connect with employers, and enter the workforce. These institutions show that career readiness begins not only in the student's final semester. Research indicates that 55 to 85% of jobs are a result of networking, connections, and relationships. Therefore, career development must begin early, be embedded throughout the educational experience, and be evolved with technology, labor market demand, and employer expectations. Next slide. Building a talent-strong Texas challenges us not only to increase post-secondary attainment, but to ensure credentials lead to opportunity. Today, about 54% of working-age Texans hold a degree or credential, still short of our 60% goal. Closing this gap requires clearer pathways from education to employment, and institutions must help students understand the labor market demand and connect them to internships, apprenticeships, and jobs. For example, over 13% of jobs now require AI skills, and 60% of employers are actively seeking those capabilities. Institutions are responding by using tools like artificial intelligence to help students explore careers, acquire skills, prepare for interviewing, and connecting to opportunities. Students are also preparing for jobs that may not exist yet, and therefore institutions must foster continuous learning and upskilling so individuals can adapt throughout their careers. Statewide policy efforts support this work. Initiatives like My Texas Future providing data on wages, occupations, and academic programs, while efforts in short-term credentials, open education resources, credentials of value, and state financial aid programs improve transition between education and employment. Next slide. Specifically for the career development and transitions category, we looked across the field and selected those effective proven practices that align closely with our state strategic plan on building a talent-strong Texas. Next slide. The criteria are listed here for your review. These effective practices and efforts help students answer three critical questions. What careers are available to me? What skills and credentials do I need to succeed? And how do I connect my education to future opportunities? And there still is a lot of work to do. A gap remains between perception and reality. Across the U.S., approximately 90% of educators believe graduates are workforce ready, whereas only 48% of graduates agree. That is why these honorees matter so much. They are improving career outcomes, strengthening workforce education, and removing barriers for students. Their work demonstrates that career development is student success. And when students see the connection between their education and their future, they are more likely to persist and complete. Our Star Award honorees bring this vision to life, and together they are helping Texans build a future-ready workforce and preparing Texans not just for their first job, but long-term success. Next slide. So it is my honor to introduce to you all our first of two honorees, Heather Medley from South Plains College, instructional designer.
Hi, I'm Heather Medley from South Plains College. I worked at a four-year institution for a couple of decades, and about 9 months before a pandemic hit, I was invited to come and help teachers learn how to teach online at South Plains. Great timing. So for a while, my biggest challenge was to get them to see the benefits of moving some of their curriculum online in ways that it could support, and then all of a sudden everybody had to. So we saw the benefits there, and we decided to keep moving with that. So next slide. One more. So since we had a pandemic and we had some stuff online, we decided to keep moving. And we decided that when we kept moving, we were going to make it applicable for our students and our area. We are way out there, and there's some cool stuff happening out in the South Plains. We service 58 different ISDs. Our students are not typical. They're all over the place, and we serve them all. So we have some 14-year-olds who don't have a driver's license in our automotive programs, learning how to fix cars that they are not allowed to drive. And then we also have people who are retired, who are coming back for increased certifications. And it is really fun to watch them all interact. And that's part of what makes this so special. Next slide. And we're doing some good stuff. We have lots of students transferring. We have lots of students who are earning degrees. We have about 1,500 degrees and certifications that we award every year. And it's a lot of fun. It's really exciting work. I wasn't sure when I moved to South Plains College how it was going to work, but I tell people all the time that South Plains College is an absolute unicorn. And as I share, I think you'll see that that is true. Next slide. So the barrier wasn't ability, it was access. And we have open enrollment, and anyone can get in, but we wanted them to be successful while they're there. We wanted them to feel like you can do it. So we ask our students a few questions when we started kind of this OER, Open Educational Resources project. 75% of our post-high school students reported that textbooks cost had impacted their ability to register for courses, with a notable portion citing that it resulted in some poor grades. They didn't do as well because they couldn't buy the book. And then some that did buy the book said they didn't read it anyway. Not a surprise, is it, Lisa? Yes, so we decided we could fix that. There are things that we can do. There are things that we can cut out. We can help them focus on the main things. And especially with our technical programs, they enrolled in those things because they want to do the things. So we worked really diligently to build courses online to help them with the theory that would help get them into the shops and the labs and the cosmetology floors and out into culinary, into the restaurants. So we have done that and worked really hard to do that. In our 2004 survey, students, 85% said that OER helped them to understand course material better, especially when it was paired with engaging professors. So when they know that that content comes straight from their faculty and that their faculty are working with our industry partners, and that those industry partners are the people who are going to hire them on the other side of the door, that really created a streamline for us. Next slide. So we created a little bit of a different model. A lot of our technical folks are really, really good at what they do, but aren't really confident in their writing. So we taught them how to use AI to help with some of that, the curriculum. So we wrote prompts for them. We wrote things that they could kind of plug and play. And then we also had them get on their phones and just do some voice to text so that it could help put it in step-by-step order, so that it could create some hands-on active learning activities for their students. They also were able to align it to careers and real-world expectations, whereas most textbooks have a 2-year cycle. If there's even a wrong answer in a math book, it takes 2 years to fix it. Our faculty can go in and fix it immediately. And so we have some faculty, side note, who've added Easter eggs to their courses so that students get extra points for helping the faculty find those mistakes, and they don't feel bad about coming and saying, hey, this is misspelled. They're excited about it. They're like, oh, I found one. So as we create, we're able to create some really positive connections, and we're creating some peer review scenarios, which our technical folks have never done before. So it's been great. So the results of these things are extra projects, increased shop time, we have higher engagement, we have better test scores. The data is proving out that this is working. And one of my favorite things is our faculty is really excited. We have re-energized, and after COVID, we've had a rough couple of years in higher education. And this OER project has really reinvigorated them to come up with some very clever, very innovative things. So next slide. So this isn't a pilot program. This is a system level shift for us. We kind of adopted a Keebler-Ross change management. So we have our early adopters, and then everyone saw, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So we've had it take off exponentially. Our welding program was one of our first early adopters, and we thought, well, if they can break it, let's figure it out. And they have soared. They actually received a grant. They are rewriting the curriculum for their entire their entire program, all of it. And they have peer reviewers from 3 other colleges who are working on this curriculum with them. And it's going to be put back into the repository for the entire state of Texas. So we are thrilled about that. So those early adopters, we've turned them into a community of practice so that they are sharing their best practices. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every time in every department or division. This last fall, we started a fast forward cohort. We welcomed 12 faculty to work together to redesign one module. Pick the chapter, pick the module that you don't like, the one that doesn't hit, the one that you just kind of dread when it comes up, and let's fix it. Let's rework it. So 12 of our faculty from all over our campuses came together, people who seemingly don't fit together, and worked really well and really hard. Then in the spring, they taught it, they got student feedback, and last Friday, we came together and celebrated and shared, and it was phenomenal. They are really excited, and it's if you give a mouse a cookie situation. So they're ready to redo the next chapter. They're ready to keep going and to transform their entire course. So pretty exciting stuff. Next slide. So this became real. We are using AI for role play and Socratic conversations. We are using it to troubleshoot real world scenarios, client communications. We're doing some mock investigations, and they have immediate access to materials on day one. You know, when you get into a class and you're like, oh, there's a textbook, I have to go order it. Let me get on check. We've skipped all that. We jump right in. You have the syllabus, you have access to the course, so let's go. We're starting. Our welding program, they were able to add in an additional entire project at the end because they bought back so much time by being able to get the students in the shop and to do some hands-on things because they'd already done some of the groundwork. I've been over there and watched the students step out of the welding bays, go get their phones, look at the content, watch a video, and go, okay, I got it, and go back in. They didn't interrupt the instructor. They didn't have to stop another student. They got right back to work. So last week, SpaceX was on our campus. Out of the 24 students that they had go through the first round, 16 are moving on to the next to get jobs at SpaceX. It's absolutely life-changing, the work that they're doing. Next slide. So we're saving them a ton of money. And in theory, we're hoping that they're buying better equipment, safer equipment. Our culinary students have reported that they are able to buy the next knife set up. They're able to get safer non-slip shoes. There's a new welding helmet, a hood, and it flashes as it changes. So the students are really excited about that because they've saved that $200, $300 on the textbooks. They can afford it. And so that's pretty fun. This is actually a picture. A lot of these are AI generated just to prove a point. But this is an actual student who is a student in Brownfield. He can't drive a car, but he's underneath that one and he's fixing it for a faculty member in Brownfield. I wanted to show you guys that because it's just demonstrating the impact that that's going to have. He's fixing his family's cars. His dad was able to get to work because this kid was able to fix their family vehicles. Next slide. So the impact on our workforce. When our employers come over, when our students are able to present and interact with our boards, and each of our programs have a board made up of people in our area, and they're able to say, this is what we're looking for, this is what we don't have, these are the kinds of people we need. They're able to put those kinds of things in there. Our cosmetology program, they create business cards week 1 because the next week they're going to start seeing community members. They're going to start servicing clients. So if they're trying to build a clientele, they're creating business cards so that on day 1, they're thinking about their exit plan, about what they're going to do, who they're going to become, what kind of services they will provide. And that helps to carry them through all the way through their year in our cosmetology program. They're doing virtual field trips. We're also doing alumni Jeopardy style questions in some of their testing. So alumni, people who've actually gone through the program not too far removed, are saying, hey, this happened to me at work. How would you deal with it? What's the correct answer? And then they're getting to answer those questions for their test. So they're getting to interact and meet people that they wouldn't see otherwise in real world situations. It's not the, when am I ever going to use this math problem? They actually get to see when they're going to use it. I had no idea there was so much trigonometry in welding. There's all kinds of vocabulary. There's all kinds of things that they're learning that really are pretty phenomenal. Next slide. And so this has changed our culture. Faculty are creating with AI. The OER adoption is spreading organically. They're collaborating across departments. Our AutoCAD program is helping the welding program get drawings and draftings together. Our English professor is working with our criminal justice folks, and she's created this whole mystery series. Everyone loves the murder mystery, so she's created this whole series and helps students learn to read better because it's things that they want to read, things they're interested in. And so they're also doing some research that way, but they're collaborating together, people that might not have done these things otherwise. So it's pretty terrific. So my final thought, next slide. This model is scalable, not because it's practical or affordable, because it's faculty-led. And so this trajectory is changing the way that we do business and the way we teach our students at South Plains College. So thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I actually did have a quick question. Ms. Medley, thank you for being here and all the incredible work you're doing in this. My question was actually on that scalability. And so you mentioned there are about 65 courses that you've redesigned. Are there more that y'all are looking to do? And another thing, are there any takeaways that other institutions can take from your process on this?
Absolutely. Get started. Find those early adopters, find the people that might be willing to just fix that one unit that they don't like. Everyone has one. So start there and just start innovating and talking. We are doing a collaborative session on Friday with Coastal Bend, and we're going to get our faculty with their faculty, and we're going to talk about how they're doing it and kind of create some cross collaborations there, because they're working to go OER by next fall, 28. So we want to get those folks talking and finding those people who've done it before. It's a lot of work, but it's not difficult, and it's not something that they can't do. They know their students, they know their workforce, they know who's out there. So just putting all those pieces together. And yes, we have so many faculty who are starting, who are dipping their toes in, who are trying one thing. Our Spanish faculty is using AI to write HTML code so that his students can do practice study guides. So you can listen to something and then you can respond. And then the AI, the way that the study guide is built, gives them a response like yes or no, or, whatever. And also tells them where to go back and look for the correct information because of the way that he wrote the prompt. So when faculty saw that on Friday, they were like, ooh, let's talk some more about that. How can I do that? And they're starting to be able to see those connections. For a long time, they weren't able to kind of translate between cats and dogs, right? So they wanted the word problems to be in their own area. And so now they're starting to see how those things can translate and how they can use the things that other people have already done, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's kind of incredible to watch them share courses and course copy and put up. In our community of practice, we have a place where they can all post. And so they're starting to share some AI prompts in ways that, insert yours here, because it's working. It's really a lot of fun to watch them collaborate. Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Heather. Next slide. It is my privilege to introduce to you all our next honoree for career development, Dr. Jennifer C.G., Associate Vice Provost for Career Engaged Learning at the University of Texas San Antonio.
No, I'm on. It looked like it was on. Good morning. Happy to be here. I'm really excited to be here at this time because the NAGEM program, the NAGEM Center, just celebrated our 5-year anniversary. Yes, it's only 5 years old. We've been extremely busy in these last 5 years, so that fact makes this award even more special. Before I get into the specifics of the NAGEM Strategist program, I did want to highlight a bit about our institution, as I feel that it's very relevant to the program's existence. Next slide. I believe that the NAGEM program has been successful because it's tied to the mission of the institution that is embedded into the community that our students come to us from, and also as a large public institution, the community that we serve. So UT San Antonio is nationally recognized across multiple domains. Aside from our Tier 1 research status, we are an Opportunity College designation, and that reflects a focus on economic mobility and student earning outcomes, which is also a focus of the NAGEM strategist. We're nationally recognized for community engagement and regional impact, reinforcing our role as an anchor institution within San Antonio. And the NAGEM strategists work within our community intentionally. So together, these designations university that's both research intensive but extremely student focused with measurable impact. Next slide. So UT San Antonio is deeply rooted in Bexar County, with nearly half of our students coming from the local community. Our student population reflects the economic diversity of the region, which directly shapes how we design our programs, including the NAGEM strategist. Next slide. We serve over 42,000 students now that we have merged with UT Health, making us one of the largest institutions in Texas. Our students are academically strong and highly motivated, with over half coming in as freshmen in the top quartile. But at the same time, we are an access institution, 43% Pell eligible, 45% first generation. This is a student body that's diverse, they're driven, and they're really achieving results at scale. Next slide. All of our hard work has been validated, and we're honored to have the STAR Award among these other achievements. And these recognitions are not isolated. They really reflect a coordinated institution-wide strategy focused on student success, career readiness, and access. And as I talk to you today about the NAGEM Strategist Program, I'm not talking about an isolated program in an isolated area of campus. It is very much a campus-wide understanding of classroom to career, and this is what we're trying to do for all students. And you're going to get just one little tiny window into one of the programs today. Next slide. So what exactly is the NAGEM Strategist Program? It is a high-impact, sprint-style consulting experience where students take on real organizational challenges. They're working with corporations, they're working with nonprofits, startups, not as observers, but as contributors. They're acting as paid consultants, applying project management skills, critical thinking, teamwork, failure, recovering from failure, and developing solutions to real problems. Next slide. I think it's important to understand how this one program fits within the university and ultimately within the San Antonio ecosystem. So the Strategist Program is one program of the NAGEM Center. The NAGEM Center was seeded by a philanthropic donation from Harvey NAGEM. Harvey's very involved. He wanted students to get real-world experience in a community in which they live, with the hopes of retaining talent in the region. Other programming in the center helps to support the strategists, such as professional development. There's an entrepreneurial pipeline, life design labs, and other social impact projects. The NAGEM Center sits within Career Engaged Learning, which is the division that I oversee. This is an ecosystem of offices whose mission is to make students future ready. I don't think we can say career ready anymore because we really have no idea what's gonna come around the corner. It changes every day. So we're focused on future ready, adaptable, nimble, flexible. And career engaged learning is part of student success within academic affairs. And this is important because this encourages collaboration with faculty and the curriculum. And of course, UT San Antonio sits within the dynamic ecosystem of San Antonio. We are an institution that is focused on industry alignment and creating a pipeline of talent. Next slide. But the most important part isn't the project that they do. It's what happens to the student through the experience. Because here's the reality that we're all navigating. The future of work is changing. It's dynamic, it's unpredictable, and it's full of opportunity. But opportunity only matters if students are prepared to take advantage of it. It's our responsibility to prepare students for what is coming and not what used to be. The Strategist Program really serves as a bridge between the classroom learning and the workforce. So what makes this experience unique. It's how the student is positioned. They're trusted to ask good questions, to think critically, to rock the boat, if you will, to contribute meaningful ideas. And when that happens, something starts to shift. They start to see themselves in roles they may have never imagined before. There's an important component here also. This program is open to everybody. There's no GPA requirement. There's no major requirement. There's no classification requirement. We have freshmen working with doctoral students. We have students on probation working with 4.0 students. Because here's the thing, talent and GPA are not synonymous. When we remove barriers and create a space, that potential shows up in powerful ways and very unique ways. Next slide. Because the work is learning. Students are building these exact skills that employers consistently tell us that they need. Communication, collaboration, navigating ambiguity, and delivering these results under deadlines and timelines with accountability. And there's something really powerful about watching a student transform through this program, and I've been honored to see many. You can see the shift in how they view themselves. You can see those interdisciplinary aha moments because we pair an English student with an engineer. You can see recovery from failure. It's about helping students connect with their learning to something real and walking away with a stronger sense of who they are and where they're going. Because the project may end, but the impact stays with them. Next slide. So when we scale this kind of experience, the impact becomes very clear. Over the past 5 years, more than 350 students have participated in real consulting projects. They've contributed to over 28,000 hours of hands-on work, and we're seeing students move into careers, continued education with a stronger foundation. But it isn't just a student benefit. Our community and industry partners are receiving real value. They're getting thoughtful, high-quality work that in some cases they have actually implemented. And many of them are repeat customers. They come back and say, we want to do this program again. So at its core, this program is built on a really simple idea. When you trust students with meaningful work, they will rise to meet it. And when they rise, it changes their trajectory in really lasting ways. Next slide. This slide reflects where we're headed next. We are really proud of our outcomes, but we are equally focused on building a more intentional, connected future for career readiness. First, we are expanding the NAGEM Innovation District into downtown San Antonio. We just had the grand opening for one of our new buildings, San Pedro 2, and there is a innovation district. The community is really excited about that. It positions our students directly in the center of industry, innovation, and community impact. And so it's about proximity to opportunity and not just access to it. We're also deepening our career integration with UT Health Campus. This allows to align academic preparation with workforce needs in high demand fields, particularly health and biosciences. And I know some NAGEM projects are going to come out of that. We're building career readiness pipelines with Alamo colleges, one of our largest feeders of transfer students. And so we really want the student to feel that they're not starting over when they arrive, because I know Alamo Colleges is doing a lot of career work. We're pushing career awareness earlier into the student life cycle, and we're redefining student employment through professional on-campus working learner experiences. So taken together, these initiatives reflect a shift from isolated experiences to a connected developmental ecosystem where every student has access to meaningful career-aligned opportunities. Next slide. And just as a final thought, the NAGEM Strategist program started with 1 staff member and 4 students during COVID. Through innovative ideas, creative collaboration, and honestly a bit of calculated risk-taking, it's a beautiful example of what happens when you simply listen to what the students need and meet them where they are. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Oh, go ahead. Hit your mic.
Awesome program. I believe greatly in experiential learning, but how do you find the projects? How do you go to companies? And just a little bit, just
It started out with just conversations with those who knew, had a contact at a company. But now it's moved to part of our employer engagement strategy through the Career Center, because employers want to engage with our institution in multiple ways. So yes, you can come recruit our students, but hey, also, would you be interested in working on a project with our students? It doesn't cost you anything. It's not like a paid internship, out from the employer's point of view. And so that has grown to partnerships with much larger corporations like Experian, Yahoo, and those are now they're starting to come to us and say, hey, we heard about this. So word travels.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Griggs. And
Thank you.
Ms. Medley and Dr. CG. Agenda item 7 is Building a Talent Strong Texas Data Insight, Shared Nurse Academic Practice Partnership Initiative. Data Insight items provide an in-depth view into specific initiatives that are using data to improve outcomes and helping build a talent strong Texas. Daniel Perez, Associate Commissioner for Academic and Workforce Initiatives, and Dr. Devin Berry, Director for the School of Nursing at Sam Houston State University, will provide a brief presentation and be available to answer questions. This item is for information only. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Chair Hawk, board members, commissioner. Really pleased to highlight our colleagues here in the field at SNAPY. It's just another example of the real world effect of investments in higher education. So I'm really pleased to have folks from the field so that the board can get out of that esoteric notion of what are we doing, but it actually has an impact for students and institutions. So really pleased to have our colleagues here with us. Millions of Texans will at some point over the course of a given year rely on our healthcare system, from routine care visits to managing chronic health conditions. And our nurses are a key part of that healthcare system. Now, for many decades, Texas has supported students pursuing nursing through investments like scholarships, loan repayment programs, state agency grants. And these nursing students are pursuing a job that's in demand. It's a job that has a positive return on investment, it's a credential value, and it performs the critical functions that affect Texans' lives. However, Texas is currently facing a critical nursing shortage. The Board of Nursing projects this shortage could worsen substantially in the future. So without innovative approaches to solve this problem, Texas could be short by about 57,000 full-time nurses by 2032. In 2024, Governor Abbott directed the coordinating board to create a task force to address healthcare workforce shortages. We engaged over 70 subject matter experts in the field. These are doctors and nurses, dozens of stakeholders, hospitals, other employers, and 7 state agencies, including the Board of Nursing, to identify ways to remove barriers to expanding healthcare programs and close the gap in our healthcare professional shortage by providing Texas students the tools necessary to enter into and succeed in programs like nursing. Now, the coordinating board administers several grant programs that expand education capacity in nursing, strengthen clinical training, and leverage performance-based funding approaches to fund nursing programs that increase student enrollment and completion. So some of the examples are a program, the Emergency and Trauma Care Education Partnership Nursing. It's over $1.8 million. Nursing Shortage Reduction Program, NSRP, that's over $23 million, and this is for the biennium. Nursing Allied Health and Other Health-Related Education Grant Program, it's over $3.7 million, and our Nursing Innovation Grant Program, that's $6 million. So I'm pleased to be able to highlight an exemplar recipient of the Nursing Innovation Grant Program today. And just for context, the program's goals are to expand Texas's nursing education capacity by funding innovative approaches to strengthen the state's workforce pipeline. It supports innovative nursing education programs that increase student enrollment and expand nursing education and training capacity, expands clinical training partnerships and learning opportunities, and it has the same focus that we have as an agency across all of our grant programs, which is to prioritize evidence-based, scalable approaches. I do want to briefly recognize the legislature for creating and funding the Nursing Innovation Grant Program. So once again, this presentation is going to highlight, it's another example of the return that we get from that investment in our Texas students and institutions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Devin Berry and his colleagues to talk about their program. Thank you.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, and Commissioner Rosser, Mr. Perez, thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. My name is Devin Barry. I'm the director for the Sam Houston State University School of Nursing. It is truly an honor to share with you this work with a board that has so clearly articulated a vision for a talent-strong Texas, one in which higher education, state leadership, and industry work together to build the workforce Texas needs today and in the future. The initiative I'll describe today, SNAPY, and thanks for tackling that mouthful earlier for me, is one example of how that vision can be operationalized through public-private partnership, data-driven design, and deliberate scale. We've structured this story in 3 acts, reflecting how SNAPY was conceived, tested, and is now being scaled across Texas. Before turning to Act 1, though, it's important to first name the actors. Next slide, please. From the very beginning, SNAPY has been intentionally designed as a public-private partnership. On the academic side, the anchor institution is the Sam Houston State University School of Nursing. On the clinical side, we are partnered with 4 healthcare systems: HCA Healthcare Gulf Coast Region, Houston Methodist, Memorial Hermann Health System, and St. Luke's Health Common Spirit. And critically, we are also partnered with a Texas-based nursing technology company, Nursify, which supports scheduling, staffing, and data capture as the model scales. I want to emphasize this at the outset. SNAPY did not emerge from a single institution. It was strategically co-created across sectors with shared ownership from the outset. That partnership context matters as we turn to the problem we are trying to solve. Next slide, please. SNAPY responds to a set of challenges that are well known to this board. Texas struggles to provide sufficient healthcare access to its quickly growing population. At the same time, our state faces the largest nursing shortage in the nation, now estimated at roughly 48,000 nurses and growing quickly. Complicating this further is a 17% nursing faculty vacancy rate across Texas, more than double the national average of 7.2%. That faculty shortage constrains enrollment capacity and represents one of the most significant bottlenecks in the nursing workforce pipeline. In short, even when student demand is high and policymakers are aligned around expansion, schools of nursing cannot grow without faculty. So the natural question becomes, where do we find them? Where do we find more faculty? Next slide, please. The answer in many ways is already in the workforce. Texas hospitals employ thousands of experienced, highly qualified nurses, many of whom have both their credentials and the professional maturity to be excellent clinical educators. Yet historically, very few make the transition into clinical instruction, not because of a lack of interest, but because of structural barriers. There are 3 primary barriers. First, compensation. Moving into academia often requires a 30 to 40% pay reduction, particularly in a post-pandemic market. Second, workload. Most clinical instructors are hired as adjuncts, meaning teaching is layered on top of a full-time clinical role, an unsustainable circumstance that significantly increases overwork and burnout risk. And third, scheduling complexity. Managing 2 employers with different planning cycles creates constant friction and instability, placing more burden on the nurse who is trying to participate in academia. These barriers are remarkably consistent across institutions, and they are precisely what SNAPY was designed to address. In short, SNAPY is a time buyout model that allows experienced bedside nurses to serve as clinical instructors by directly addressing the most common barriers that prevent them from teaching. Next slide, please. At this point in the presentation, I'd like to pause and ask you to hear indirectly from SNAPY RNs. While we have a number of other guests with us today, unfortunately, due to work schedules and other obligations, a SNAPY RN cannot join us in person today. However, 4 nurses offered to write out their perspective on what serving as a SNAPY RN has meant for them. And here is a sampling of their comments. One says, "Serving as a clinical instructor in the SNAPY program has been a deeply rewarding extension of my practice. It allows me to bridge the gap between real-world care and academic learning in a way that is both meaningful and impactful." Another says, "When I am with my SNAPY students, they are not visitors, they are home, my home. That sense of belonging makes all the difference." This consistency offers a psychological safety, says another nurse. When students feel supported by a familiar instructor who understands their progress, they are more likely to take initiative, ask critical questions, and engage in complex patient care tasks. Another nurse comments, for my students, the benefit is clear. They learn from a current bedside nurse in a real-world setting, gaining hands-on experience, professional socialization, and the confidence needed to transition successfully into practice. SNAPY, she says, allows me to maintain my nursing pay rate while teaching without financial sacrifice. Since clinical instruction is incorporated into my regular workday, it significantly reduces my burnout and promotes greater job satisfaction. Finally, a nurse says, SNAPY not only prepares competent, confident, and practice-ready nurses, but it also restores purpose, connection, and professional fulfillment for experienced nurses. Next slide, please. Act 2. When confronted with this challenge, we made a deliberate decision not to continue doing what has always been done. With support from our first round of NIGP funding, we convened a year-long design process that brought together nurse executives, clinicians, faculty, HR leaders, finance officers, legal counsel, and procurement professionals, every group that would need to say yes for a new model to work. We used a backward design approach, starting with the outcomes we wanted and working carefully backward to operational structures required to achieve them. One of the most important outputs of that process, and perhaps the least glamorous, is a templated memorandum of understanding that leverages the existing affiliations required to exist between academic and practice partners. This MOU is the organizational backbone of SNAPY. It standardizes roles, responsibilities, risk management, performance evaluation, funding flows, and coordination logistics, making the model scalable beyond a single site or institution. Next slide, please. The SNAPY model has 3 core components. The first is the time buyout. Through an MOU that we refer to as a functional contractual model, the School of Nursing purchases a portion of a nurse's clinical time from the hospital. Typically, this consists of one 12-hour shift per week plus an additional 4 hours dedicated to the academic work such as advising, grading, counseling, and office hours. The second component is job training. SNAPY RNs participate in a structured onboarding program, including a clinical instruction boot camp led by nationally recognized experts, plus ongoing mentoring throughout the semester. Component 3 is the clinical education. The SNAPY RN then delivers clinical instruction directly to students, typically a group of 6 to 10 embedded on their home or near home unit over the course of a semester. What matters most is how these components work together to eliminate the barriers that we identified earlier. Next slide, please. First, full-time employment is retained. The SNAPY RN remains a hospital employee with no loss of compensation, no loss of benefits, and no loss of professional standing or advancement. Second, the workload remains at a 1.0 FTE. Teaching replaces, not adds to, clinical hours, reducing overwork and burnout risk. Third, scheduling is coordinated institution to institution, not nurse to institution. Shifts are planned a year in advance through the MOU, dramatically reducing the administrative burden. Next slide, please. With the second round of NIGP funding, we tested the feasibility of this model over 2 semesters and across 4 health systems, 4 SNAPY RNs, and over 65 students, all enrolled through standard placement processes. Next slide, please. Before sharing more about the feasibility study, I'd like to invite a SNAPY student to share her experience.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Bova. I'm a senior nursing student enrolled in the SNAPY program. As we look at Act 2, telling the story, it becomes real for me. When I read the student quote about finally feeling welcomed and part of the team, it honestly hit home because not all clinical experiences feel that way. There's a big difference between being physically present in a unit and actually feeling like you belong there. I've been in clinical settings where students are on the outside, watching, trying not to be in the way, waiting for opportunities instead of being pulled into them. And I've experienced the opposite, where you're included, you're trusted, you're expected to think and act like a part of the team, even by the healthcare providers. And that's where learning usually happens. That's exactly what SNAPY creates. Because the instructor is already part of that hospital team, there's no disconnect. Students aren't visiting, they're stepping into a real workflow with someone who knows the environment, the pace, the expectation, the core values of that hospital. Coming from my background as a combat corpsman, working in high acuity environments, and now training in nursing school, I've seen how critical that kind of integration is. In fast-paced settings, you don't have time to hesitate or feel unsure of your role. You have to think, anticipate, and act. and SNAPY helps build that mindset early. From my own experience, it changes everything. You ask more questions, you engage more, and you start anticipating instead of reacting. You stop thinking like a student and you start thinking like a nurse. And that's something you can't replicate in a traditional model where access and integration are limited. You're just the guest. What stands out most to me is that SNAPY doesn't improve learning, it builds confidence. And confident students become safer, more prepared nurses. It also creates a connection. When you feel like you belong to a unit, you're more likely to come back. You're more likely to want to work there. And more importantly, you're more than likely going to stay. So this isn't about improving clinical rotations. It's about building nurses who are ready, confident, and already connected to the environments they'll be serving in. And in my opinion, that's how you don't only train nurses, that's how you build a workforce. Thank you.
Next slide, please. The feasibility study generated robust data with an 83% response rate across multiple stakeholder groups. Even at a limited scale, the results were compelling. 1.7 new faculty FTE per semester were generated, a 10% reduction in clinical faculty need, and full operational feasibility across care delivery, clinical coordination, academic operations, finance, HR training, and model execution. Those outcomes alone would have validated the model. Next slide, please. What we did not anticipate was the magnitude of impact on nurses and students directly. SNAPY RNs reported unanimous increase in job satisfaction, reduced burnout risk, and stronger intent to remain with their employer. Students reported an NPS, or a Net Promoter Score, of plus 86. For context, the Net Promoter Score above 70 is generally considered exceptional across institutions, including healthcare, making a score of plus 86 highly unusual for any educational or clinical program. The students experienced deeper unit integration, and critically, over 30% were hired by their SNAPY clinical system, creating a powerful pipeline within the pipeline. Next slide, please. Before sharing more about the next round of funding and the statewide scale-up, I'd like to invite a healthcare system leader to share her perspective.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Danielle Taylor, and I work for the Memorial Hermann Healthcare System. I'm the Director of Academic Affiliation and Strategic Initiatives. From a healthcare system perspective, SNAPY is more than just a simple solution to the faculty shortage. It is a deliberate and strategic investment in our future workforce. What you see reflected on this slide is something that we've known for a long time about healthcare. When nurses teach, they grow. When they grow, they stay. And SNAPY allows us to tap into that truth in a deliberate and a meaningful way. This is about building a sustainable pipeline of practice-ready nurses who are not only clinically competent, they are confident, connected, and committed to our organizations and the communities we serve. And what makes SNAPY different is the intentionality behind it. We are aligning the goals of the student, the academic partner, and the healthcare system in a way that creates value for all three of us. For our students, we see them getting a richer, more immersive clinical experience. It's no longer the time where they come to clinicals, complete the hours for graduation, and check the boxes. They are developing real-world skills, building relationships, and seeing themselves as a part of our team from day one. For the healthcare systems, this creates a pipeline of practice-ready nurses who know us, they understand our culture, they have great relationships, and step into practice with confidence, which reduces turnover, strengthens our teams, and improves our outcomes. When we invest in our nurses differently, that we improve quality, safety, and consistency of care, which is our goal. SNAPY is also re-engaging our bedside nurses in a bold way we've never seen before. We are bringing our nurses to the center of education, not as an added task, but as a valued role. We recognize them for their expertise, we invest in their development, and we're creating pathways for them to grow, to teach, and to lead. At the same time, those nurses are pouring that back into their students. And again, our students are not just simply learners passing through, they are members of our workforce. This results in a level of engagement and participation from the student, the faculty, even our clinical teams that is new. It is different. You can feel it in the environment, you can see it in their connections, you can see it in their pride, you can see it in their ownership of their practice. Because of this, we have elevated every hour of clinicals to where our clinical education is no longer transactional, it is transformational. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. With our third round of, next slide, please. With our third round of NIGP funding, SNAPY transitioned into a statewide demonstration focused on 4 dimensions: replication within founding systems, expansion to new academic clinical partnerships, diversification into rural and ADN programs, and readiness for technological and staffing scale. Next slide, please. A key innovation within this phase was our rural pilot. In October 2025, SNAPY received unanimous approval from the Texas Board of Nursing for an innovative pilot program allowing BSN prepared nurses to serve as clinical instructors in rural settings. Under current Texas Board of Nursing rules, clinical instructors are typically required to be master's prepared nurses. As you will hear in a moment, this standard poses a particular challenge in rural communities where MSN prepared RNs are scarce. The T-Bond's approval of this pilot program creates a path for rural communities to educate nurses locally and keep them local. This versus losing them to the well-established phenomena of brain drain that occurs when high-value professionals are sent away to larger markets. At this point, I'd like to invite a rural academic leader to share why this matters.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Minerva Gonzalez, and I serve as the Nursing Program Director for Sul Ross State University in Alpine, Texas. Our rural nursing program helps support the nursing workforce in our Tri-County area, including Brewster County, Jeff Davis County, and Presidio County. According to the Texas Board of Nursing website, there are a combined total of 10 MSN prepared nurses in the Tri-County area, most of which are APRNs practicing in the clinical setting, which we also need. As you can imagine, finding qualified nurse educators and clinical instructors has been challenging. According to the same website, 14 BSN prepared nurses were identified in Brewster County alone. These nurses generally work at the bedside and have experience of working in the rural healthcare setting, which is ideal for our program. Sul Ross is incredibly excited to participate in the SNAPY project to help demonstrate the effectiveness of using BSN-prepared bedside nurses as clinical instructors. In addition, we have full support from our primary clinical partner, Big Bend Regional Medical Center. We look forward to seeing the impact the SNAPY program will have for our students and our rural community alike. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Next slide, please. Since the feasibility study, SNAPY has steadily scaled across sites, teaching capacity, and students. We are projecting continued growth through spring of 2027. Next slide, please. Funding to date has included 3 rounds of NIGP investment and multiple philanthropic gifts from a Houston-based foundation. We are currently developing cost estimates for sustained statewide deployment and look forward to sharing those projections in the near future. Next slide, please. The return on investment is clear. Students are more workplace ready. Schools expand faculty capacity and therefore the potential to graduate more nurses. Healthcare systems strengthen recruitment and retention, and Texas builds a resilient, locally grounded workforce. Next slide, please. SNAPY demonstrates what is possible when public policy, higher education, and healthcare organizations align around shared outcomes. It is a practical example of how Texas can lead the nation in building a talent-strong nursing workforce, not through isolated efforts, but through partnership. We are proud of what has been built, but grateful for the board's support and eager to continue the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, does anyone have any questions?
Ms. Stock, if I may.
Yes, please.
Ms. Bova, could you talk more about your background? I believe I heard you say you were a combat corpsman?
Yes, I was deployed with 1st MEB in Afghanistan in a shock trauma platoon.
And how long did you fill that role in the service?
I was a regular corpsman, a quad 0, for 9 years, and then I became an independent duty corpsman, which in the corpsman world is an NP per se. And I did that for the rest of my 20. So, yes.
So I'm just, thank you for sharing your background. But that makes me think you know what service looks like, you know what good training looks like. And so it makes your comments this morning even more meaningful. So appreciate you being here and sharing your perspective as a student. And Dr. Gonzalez, I heard you say 3 counties, which, I'm working from memory, but I don't have the exact square mileage in mind, but that's larger than many U.S. states, given the geography of West Texas. And you said 10 master's prepared nurses in those 3 counties?
Yes, sir. And Brewster County is the largest county in Texas by itself. So our Tri-County area is quite large.
So I think the evidence of what you've been able to accomplish, Dr. Berry, so far, and the implications it has for rural Texas that share common features with what Dr. Gonzalez described in terms of the master's prepared nurses that can play this role. I think I'm encouraged and look forward to seeing how your expansion goes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a great need in the state. I'll hand it over to Vice Chair Wilson for agenda item 8.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. Agenda item 8 is academic affairs. Agenda item 8A, consideration and possible action to approve the substantive change to University of Texas Health Science Center Houston's Doctor of Nursing Practitioner degree program. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available to answer any questions. Dr. Kevin Moreno, Senior Vice President for Academic and Faculty Affairs from UT Health Houston, and Dr. Kathy Rosmos, Vice Dean for Academic Affairs from the Cizik School of Nursing at UT Health Houston, are also available for any questions. Mr. Perez.
Good morning. So as we move into the section of our agenda focused on program approval, I did want to provide a brief overview of the coordinating board's role in reviewing and approving programs. So public universities and health-related institutions must receive approval from the coordinating board before offering a new certificate or degree program. The agency is required to assess whether each program meets 4 criteria, which include demonstrated program need, adequate financing, adequate faculty and resources, and whether they meet academic standards. And so in the area of program need, we're assessing student demand for similar programs, comments from other institutions regarding possible program duplication, and we're reviewing labor market information to make sure that it's suggestive that the number of graduates produced by established programs is not enough to meet projected job openings in Texas. As far as adequate financing, we assess whether the program has a plan to ensure adequate financing from formula funding, tuition and fees, awarded grants, or reallocated costs to become financially self-sufficient within 5 years. In terms of adequate faculty and resources, we're assessing plans to leverage or hire qualified faculty whose educational attainment is at the appropriate level, a sufficient number of faculty, sufficient physical space, and sufficient library and IT resources appropriate for the discipline. In terms of academic standards, we're reviewing alignment with the state strategic plan for higher education and assessing program quality to review whether programs meet the appropriate licensure requirements for their students to sit for and receive licensure in their field. And with that, I will move on to this agenda item. The University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston is seeking approval for a substantive change to the Doctor of Nursing Practice, DNP program, that would result in adding a DNP in nursing leadership and administration to the program inventory. UT Health Science Center Houston currently offers a Master's of Science in Nursing Leadership and Administration and an MSN to DNP pathway. Adding the BSN to DNP pathway in Nursing Leadership Administration offers registered nurses direct entry to the DNP, eliminating the need for a separate MSN and accelerating the timeline for DNP degree completion. Based on analysis of requirements in Texas Administrative Code Section 2.5, General Criteria for Program Approval, the coordinating board staff recommended the proposed program change to the commissioner for approval. The commissioner recommends the program change for approval by the board.
Okay, well, good morning, board. We appreciate the opportunity to come and say a few words about our program, and I want to thank our colleagues from Sam Houston State for already outlining, I think, the need for increased programs in the nursing world. So on behalf of UT Health Houston, I just want to say we are very proud of our Cizik School of Nursing. It's been around for about 50 years. It's produced over 15,000 nursing graduates. Right now, it is the #1 program in Texas for doctors in nursing practitioner, the DNP, as well as family nurse practitioner. It's also the #1 research school of nursing in Texas, and now #8 in the nation. So they know what they're doing. This program that we're seeking approval for today is a new track on an existing program, our DNP, that will train nurses for careers in leadership. So you've already heard about the the need for practicing nurses. It's even greater for those in senior levels that help organize, run, and manage nurse staff in a hospital. So at this point, I want to turn it over to Dr. Kathy Rosmus here. She is our Vice Dean for Academic Affairs and our Assistant Vice President for Institutional Advancement and Enhancement, to tell you a little bit more details about the program.
Thank you for allowing us to come here. When I started nursing, which was a while ago, you graduated as a new nurse, you worked as a staff nurse, then you became a charge nurse, then a head nurse, then maybe a supervisor, and then a chief nursing officer. That whole world has changed. Nurses frequently may be put in leadership positions very quickly out of school. They don't have preparation, and they don't have time to go get a master's, and then a couple years later go back and get a DNP. This accelerates that process, allows a student with a BSN to, in a much shorter time, get her DNP, which gives her not only basic leadership skills, but the advanced leadership skills needed for nurse executive positions as chief nurse officers and also CEOs of hospitals. So it's faster, cheaper for our students. They get a stronger education because they're getting the entire trajectory for nursing leadership, and it builds upon programs we already have with resources we already have. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Members, do we have any questions? I just have one. So this is a faster track to advance them through that career. You say you advance leadership skills. So what is the secret, in your opinion, to what do you provide them that helps them develop leadership skills that they aren't able to develop on their own?
So a program that does leadership skills looks at many of the things that you will see in business programs, organizational systems, how to work within organizational systems, budgeting, finance, those kinds of skills, as well as patient care organization and how that affects patient outcomes. So you've got a business aspect, but you also have the patient care and the effect of how I, as a nurse leader, lead my organization and what it does to patient care outcomes. So this makes a stronger leader than them having to learn these skills on their own.
Yeah, it's interesting that when you get on a specific track, you always assume that you learn all these other things, but you don't. And so it's great. It's a great mission and program, I think, that you guys are undertaking. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to approve this item? Motion. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item 8B is proposed degree programs. 8B1, consideration and possible action to approve the request from Tarleton State University for a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in integrative biosciences. Sorry. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions. Dr. Barry Lambert, Interim Provost and Executive VP of Academic Affairs, and Dr. Tom Falconberry, Dean, College of Graduate Studies, is also available for questions. Mr. Perez.
All right. Tarleton State University is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in integrative biosciences. That would begin in the fall of 2026. The proposed program would be offered in person to students in Stephenville. The program would train scientists to work in environments that increasingly demand effective communication and collaboration across an array of disciplines. Graduates of the proposed program would have careers as research scientists in the public or private sector. Based on analysis of requirements in Texas Administrative Code, Section 2.5, general criteria for program approval, the Commissioner recommends the program for approval by the board. I'll turn that over to our colleagues. Good morning, Commissioner Rosser, Chair Hawk, and members of the board. We appreciate the opportunity to be here to present this proposal for a PhD in Integrative Biosciences. I'm here with Dr. Tom Falkenberry, who's Dean of our College of Graduate Studies, who will share a bit more information in a moment about the program as well. This doctoral program is an important part of our strategy to achieve Carnegie R1 status. Our approach to doctoral growth has not been to duplicate existing programs, but rather to study the landscape and our own strengths and to develop programs that meet workforce needs and the needs of Texas. This program does exactly that. It brings together faculty expertise from 7 departments across 3 academic colleges into an integrated model that bridges biological, quantitative, behavioral, and health sciences. It fills a genuine gap in the state's doctoral landscape, and we're very proud to present it to you today. We built the program to be rigorous, distinctive, and sustainable. And now I'll turn it over to Dr. Falkenberry for some more details.
Okay, thank you. Many thanks to the board for considering this proposal. We are proud to offer the proposed PhD in Integrative Biosciences. The program is designed to meet the growing demand for highly trained scientists who can address complex biological and health challenges through interdisciplinary research, innovation, and applied problem solving. Our graduates will be prepared to contribute to the life sciences workforce in Texas and beyond through careers in research, industry, government, and higher education. There are 2 key aspects of our program that are particularly worth noting here. One is the early and continuous immersion of our students in research from the beginning. And 2 is an intentional interdisciplinary training focus. This proposed PhD in Integrative Biosciences is designed to prepare graduates to work across the traditional disciplinary boundaries. By integrating advanced study and research in areas such as molecular biology, ecology, physiology, neuroscience, mathematics and data science, and other related bioscience fields that emerge over time, our students will gain the breadth and depth needed to address real-world scientific challenges. This programmatic focus will prepare graduates for a wide range of careers, including positions in biotechnology, biomedical, and environmental research, laboratory leadership, regulatory and government agencies, and academic institutions. In this way, this program aligns closely with the workforce needs in Texas, where demand continues to grow for highly skilled professionals in the biosciences at large. Texas faces growing needs in areas such as biomedical innovation, environmental sustainability, data-driven life sciences, and general scientific workforce development in both rural and urban regions. This program responds to all of these needs by training integrative bioscientists who can work across biological and quantitative, behavioral, and health sciences fields. We will build doctoral capacity, and Tarleton State will help meet both student demand and workforce demand in this rapidly evolving sector. We are poised to become a strong and distinctive program in the state who will continue to make important contributions to science, industry, and the workforce needs of Texas. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Gentlemen, members, do you have any questions?
I have a couple of questions.
Sir.
You talked about across the program would cross over 3 different colleges. What are those colleges?
Yes, those colleges are the College of Science and Mathematics, the College of Health Sciences, as well as the College of Education.
Interesting. And, when we think about the opportunities for AI implications in biosciences, it's phenomenal. It's immense. I didn't hear you mention AI at all in your description. Is that being considered? And if so, can you expand on that a little more?
Yes, absolutely. So one answer to why it might not have been originally mentioned is the AI landscape has changed since even the beginning of the construction of this proposal. However, all of these programs are rapidly evolving their curriculum and their response to student demand and research demands in those areas. So every one of our areas in all 3 of those colleges, and Provost Lambert can attest to this for us as well, have been making great strides in that area. And in fact, there are distinct lines of research toward the evolution of artificial intelligence in these fields that's occurring right now. So this will be a very concrete part of the student experience for anyone in this program.
Great. Thank you.
Members, any other questions? You want to take 30 seconds and brag about Tarleton State while you're here in front of everybody?
Well, I would never pass up an opportunity to brag about our great institution. If our president was here, he would say that we're the fastest growing four-year public institution in the state of Texas. We serve a large region of the state. We, in fact, have 240 to 254 counties represented. He's working on 254. So, yeah, we're very, very proud to be here, very appreciative of the programs that you've approved in the past, and we're making good on the promises.
Great. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Do I have a motion to approve this item, please?
Motion?
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 8B2, consideration and possible action to approve the request from Texas A&M University Corpus Christi for a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in engineering. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions. Dr. Kelly Miller, President, and Dr. David Ma, Dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science, are also available for questions. Mr. Perez.
Texas A&M University Corpus Christi is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in engineering that would begin in the fall of 2026. The proposed program would be offered in person to students in Corpus Christi. This is a full-time program that would consist of 60 semester credit hours for students holding a master's degree and 93 semester credit hours for students holding a bachelor's degree. The program has created a curriculum that harnesses engineering and artificial intelligence for solutions that are specific to the coastal region. 4 concentration areas for dissertation research include civil and environmental engineering, electrical and advanced engineering, industrial and process engineering, and mechanical and energy engineering. The program will also leverage 3 internships that TAMU Corpus Christi offers as part of the student immersion experience designed to expose students to industry partners. Based on analysis of requirements in Texas Administrative Code, Section 2.5, general criteria for program approval, coordinating board staff recommended the proposed program to the commissioner for approval. The commissioner recommends the program for approval by the board. I'll turn it over to our colleagues.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Commissioner. We're very grateful to be here. My name is Kelly Miller, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, and I have with me Dr. David Ma, Dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science, as well as our provost and associate provost in the audience. I'd just like to take a moment to give you a brief overview. We are thrilled at the possibility of offering this PhD program in engineering. If approved, it would begin next fall, and it would develop and address workforce needs around the state, but specifically focusing on the coastal bend. Our faculty, who currently serve our growing undergrad and master's programs in engineering, have developed this PhD program to utilize our unique strengths, including coastal engineering, process safety, operational excellence, carbon capture, and other sustainable energy innovations, as well as autonomy and coastal resilience. And these are all strengths that serve the workforce needs of the coastal bend. As Corpus Christi is the home of the 3rd largest port in the nation and the #1 energy export port in the country. And while A&M Corpus Christi is home of the Autonomous Research Institute, one of only 9 FAA UAS test sites in the country and the only one in Texas, as well as the home of the FAA Center for Advanced Aviation Technologies, a federally funded center to support the development of next-generation UAS technology and the integration of drones into our airspace. Those graduating from this program will be ready to serve the workforce needs of the Port of Corpus Christi and all the various port industries, as well as a growing demand related to artificial intelligence, particularly coastal AI, as well as autonomous research and the UAS sectors. Additionally, this program will develop engineers who can lead research and innovation in advanced applied technologies to tackle challenges specific to our coastal environment. Engineering positions requiring doctoral degrees are estimated to grow by 19%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This demand is projected to expand even further as the growing need for PhD-level researchers and engineers is essential for leading innovation in the areas I just noted, as well as in chip design and manufacturing, which supports the Federal Chips and Science Act. This PhD program builds on A&M Corpus Christi's growing engineering programs, will provide PhD candidates with exciting innovation training and research opportunities, and directly serves the workforce needs of the Coastal Bend and beyond. So I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Well, obviously, Corpus Christi is right in the path of growth, so congratulations for serving that community. And every time I look up, Corpus is doing something new, so
thank you.
Congratulations on that. Any questions from the members?
As always. I had a question about your comment on drones. When I read through it before, I didn't hear that really mentioned. Can you be more specific about how that will be included or how that's factored in? I think that's certainly an emerging area that.
Certainly.
And I didn't realize that your facility was the only one in the state of Texas that was.
Well, so we're thrilled to be part of this opportunity, and Dr. Ma can talk a bit more about the exact experiences students would have, but we have them even at the undergraduate level on our campus already working in those areas, the computer science and engineering that goes along to support the drone industry. But we were designated a while back as the FAA test site for drones here. There used to only be 7. They just added 2 more, so 9 in the nation. And we're very proud of the fact that our students and our faculty, for example, the very first place drones were ever integrated into the airspace was in Corpus Christi, in a city they called an urban canyon. But our students were part of that experience, and this is a growing technology. So having those PhD students that will work there to develop that next level of drone technology is really fantastic. So, and David, I don't know if you want to say anything additional.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the drone and AI, these are the core areas under the umbrella of automation, basically. So it's it's utilizing all of the research projects, a lot of the projects, including the coastal surveying and things like that, we're actively actually doing right now. So these are definitely one of the areas we're focused on. Yeah.
I think this is an area that's going to expand very rapidly. So, if you can take a leadership in that for the state of Texas, I think that would be a really significant factor. So, good luck. Look forward to watching the progress.
Thank you.
Great. Members, any other questions?
Yes, I have one question. Thanks for being here. Another question on the student experience mentioned the internships that are offered. And so my question is, how is the internships preparing students for the workforce in tandem with their research?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, can you hear me? So the core of our program actually is a fundamental change, a shift in the PhD pedagogy. So we're actually focused a lot on the industry applications, and we try to produce both researchers and technical leaders that can actually lead these R&D efforts the first day when they join the workforce. So in order to do that, we actually developed a lot of partnerships with the industry around the region and beyond. So we can offer these high-level technical internships for students to actually practice on these, we call it translational skills that actually is much needed by the industry.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to approve the request from Texas A&M University of Corpus Christi for a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in engineering, please? Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8B3, consideration and possible action to approve the request from the University of Texas at Arlington for a Doctor of Social Work degree program. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions. Dr. Kirk Foster, Dean of the School of Social Work, Dr. Karen Magruder, Director of the proposed degree program, will also be available for questions. Mr. Perez.
The University of Texas at Arlington is seeking approval to offer a part-time Doctor of Social Work, it's a DSW degree program, that would begin in the fall of 2026. The proposed program would be offered 100% online and would be the third program of its kind in the state. The DSW would prepare and equip social work professionals with effective higher education leadership skills and teaching expertise. Graduates of the proposed program would have careers as professional educators and administrators in academia and advance in leadership in community practice positions. Based on analysis of requirements in Texas Administrative Code, Section 2.5, General Criteria for Program Approval, the coordinating board staff recommended the proposed program to the Commissioner for approval. The Commissioner recommends the program for approval by the board. Now, turn it over.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm happy to be joined by Kara Magruder and also our Provost Tamara Brown, who has joined us in the audience. Thank you for the opportunity to present the University of Texas at Arlington's proposed Doctor of Social Work program. This program is designed to directly support Texas workforce priorities by preparing experienced social work professionals to step into high-need roles as educators, advanced practitioners, and organizational leaders across healthcare, behavioral health, community-based systems, and in higher education. The demand for doctoral-level social work professionals continues to grow across Texas, particularly in higher education and clinical leadership. Our program is intentionally structured to meet that demand and to expand access through a 100% online format, enabling working professionals to advance their credentials without leaving the communities they already serve. UTA has developed this program in full alignment with state and federal requirements and accreditation standards, ensuring academic rigor and compliance. The curriculum emphasizes applied leadership, teaching preparation, and advanced practice, equipping graduates to contribute immediately and effectively across sectors. Importantly, this program serves a distinct population, mid to senior level professionals seeking to transition into leadership, clinical, and teaching roles, while complementing rather than duplicating existing doctoral offerings in the state. As Texas' largest school of social work, located at UTA, a Texas Tier 1 and Carnegie R1 institution, we are well positioned to offer a high-quality, accessible doctoral program that strengthens the state's workforce and supports long-term economic and community outcomes. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Members, any questions? I mean, congratulations for being Texas' largest school of social work in the state. That's a great mission, and keep up the good work. Do I have a motion to approve this request from the University of Texas at Arlington for a Doctor of Social Work degree program? Do I have a motion, please? Motion?
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8B4 is consideration and possible action to approve the request from the University of Texas at San Antonio for a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in aerospace engineering. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions. Dr. Christopher Combs, Associate Dean for Research at the Clasa College of Engineering and Integrated Design, and Dr. Heather Trepal, Vice Provost for Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies and Dean of the Graduate School, are also available for any questions. Mr. Perez.
The University of Texas at San Antonio, UT San Antonio, is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in aerospace engineering that would begin in the fall of 2026. The proposed program would be offered in person to students in San Antonio. The program would build upon UT San Antonio's existing relationship with the Southwest Research Institute and the many aerospace companies in South Texas. Based on analysis of requirements in Texas Administrative Code, Section 2.5, General Criteria for Program Approval, the coordinating board staff recommended the proposed program to the Commissioner for approval. The Commissioner recommends the program for approval by the board. Turn it over.
All right, thank you for inviting us here today and taking the time to consider our proposal for a PhD program in aerospace engineering at UT San Antonio. My name is Chris Combs, and I'm the Aerospace Engineering Program Director and Associate Dean for Research in the Clasa College of Engineering and Integrated Design. I'm also here with Dr. Heather Trepal and Dr. Daniel Pineda, who provided a lot of support in our aerospace engineering program development. Daniel's in the audience there, so thanks everyone for being here. The rapid invigoration of the U.S. aerospace industry and associated growing commercial launch market in the last decade has created strong demand for aerospace engineering research and education programs around the country. Specifically, Texas has a rich history in aerospace engineering, and recent high-profile entrants like SpaceX, Blue Origin, Firefly, and Intuitive Machines, to name a few, have invested large amounts of capital into test sites across Texas while actively recruiting engineers from around the nation to support their research and development programs. As industry increasingly adopts emerging technologies such as additive manufacturing, advanced optical instrumentation, AI, and machine learning, they will need graduates with skills in these areas to accelerate the state-of-the-art and maintain a technological edge over competitors. A recent study of job postings requiring a PhD in aerospace engineering identified 3,000 U.S. postings, with approximately 200 of those in Texas and 20 of those in the San Antonio metro. From 2021 to 2025, the number of new aerospace engineering PhD graduates nationwide was only about 400 on average. Therefore, it's clear that there's a significant shortage of PhD graduates. Taking into account the labor market demand for aerospace engineers in the military, civil sectors, projected employment growth for this field is estimated at nearly 16% in Texas and more than 6% nationally over the next 10 years, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, further exacerbating the current workforce shortage. However, only 3 institutions in Texas, UT Austin, A&M, and UT Arlington, currently offer a PhD in aerospace engineering, producing just about 40 graduates from Texas each year to fill close to 200 jobs in our state. The proposed aerospace engineering PhD program at UT San Antonio will provide another avenue for students in Texas to pursue a doctoral degree in aerospace engineering, and will be the first such program in South Texas. The proposed program is designed to prepare students to be leaders in aerospace engineering and to equip them with skills to solve real-world engineering challenges through interdisciplinary, state-of-the-art research in the areas of aerodynamics, propulsion, hypersonics, structures, and space sciences. The program will be supported by approximately 20 existing faculty at UT San Antonio. Southwest research engineers and scientists will also be appointed to collaborate and provide additional opportunities for mentoring and advising student research while teaching courses. The interdisciplinary training included in the program will provide students with skills to translate cutting-edge aerospace engineering research into real-world applications and to solve problems across traditional scientific boundaries. A unique feature of the proposed program is access to world-class aerospace test facilities like the UT San Antonio Mach 7 wind tunnel, which is only one of 5 such comparable facilities at an academic institution in the U.S. So again, thanks for the time. That was perfect. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Any questions from the members?
Well, I might as well keep my trend going.
I would hate to disappoint us. Yeah.
I do think you're representing Dr. Wong well. All engineering programs normally get questions from Dr.
Right.
Wong. So you're
I think that this is definitely a significant need, as you pointed out, and one that, is a shortfall that if we can actually provide this for the state of Texas, will actually differentiate the state relative to any of the other states and opportunities that are created with it. So I encourage you to make this as successful as possible and really help provide this growth area for the state of Texas, which, is already taking place with the launches that are taking place here. And I wouldn't focus on just the San Antonio area. I think that broadly speaking for the state, it represents a significant opportunity.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the support.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I noticed in the data you have a master's already in aerospace. Is there plans to have an undergraduate degree in aerospace at some point?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that this morning, how this is kind of the last step for the PhD, hopefully. And so that's going to be the next thing. That's kind of been the plan all along, is to build with a master's first into a PhD. And now we've kind of got critical mass and we've got some more hires anticipated. So I think the bachelor's program planning is going to be the next thing.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Just a comment. I think, Texas has always in the past led in aerospace back in the day. And I think it's a huge growth industry. And I would encourage all higher ed institutions to think about getting ahead of it from an instructional standpoint so that we can lead the nation in aerospace in the future. And one last question, how fast is the wind in the wind tunnel?
Yeah, so it's Mach 7 times the speed of sound. And so we're talking, probably the simplest terms to put that in, about 7 miles per second.
Per second?
Yeah.
There we go.
You don't want to walk in.
So I could get to Lake Travis in how long would it take?
Yeah, you spend more time taxiing on the runway. What I like to tell folks is from San Antonio, you can get anywhere in the continental U.S. in 20 minutes at Mach 7.
Great, thank you. Great. Do I have a motion to approve the request from the University of Texas at San Antonio for a doctorate of philosophy degree in aerospace engineering? Do I have a motion, please?
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8B5, consideration and possible action to approve the request from the University of North Texas Health Science Center for a Doctor of Philosophy degree in the program Pharmaceutical Sciences. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions. Dr. Christopher Ray, Senior Vice President and Provost, and Dr. Evan Robinson, Dean for the College of Pharmacy, are available for questions. Mr. Perez.
Right. The University of North Texas Health Science Center is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in pharmaceutical sciences that would begin in the fall of 2026. The proposed program would be the first offered in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Based on analysis of requirements in Texas Administrative Code, Section 2.5, General Criteria for Program Approval, the Coordinating Board recommended the proposed program to the Commissioner for approval. The Commissioner recommends the program for approval by the Board.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss the addition of the pharmaceutical PhD program as an addition to the UNT Health portfolio. This program represents targeted workforce-aligned expansion that builds directly on the strengths of our existing College of Pharmacy. The goal of this is not to create something new from scratch, but extend existing research and graduate education capacity into an area of clear regional and national need. Some of what you might have picked up from the proposal included that we have had a pharmaceutical track within our CBTS PhD, our more umbrella PhD program. But as the market growth in North Texas and the regional growth demands more discipline-specific training, we feel like it's time to evolve and grow into that PhD in pharmaceutical sciences. As mentioned, this will fill a workforce gap. There's no comparable program within a 150-mile radius of UNT Health. And we are measured and scaling from 5 students to 20 students within 5 years. We're revenue positive in the program in year 4 and 5. With that, I'll ask Dean Robinson to address market demand and workforce training, and we'd be happy to answer any questions afterwards.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be discussing this with you. We're projecting a 19% growth in pharmaceutical science-related occupations. So regionally, that's around 2,700 jobs. And right now, there's major investment in North Texas. Novartis, Eli Lilly, Stallion Labs, and currently our opportunities include Alcon, McKesson, Siemens, Lantern, Nanoscope Therapeutics, Galderma. There's a great and broad area for which we can actually engage with research partners in the North Texas sector in the DFW Metroplex. And that's going to be key in terms of what we're doing for innovation within our program to differentiate it from other PhD programs, which is to include clinical faculty on their committee to actually help advance this as a translational approach to research from bench to bedside. The other part that we'll be doing is requiring internships and innovation and opportunities, working with biotech companies, incubators, pharma, and others. The intent is to create translational research opportunities if and as it comes, and to prepare individuals in a variety of areas that include medicinal chemistry, pharmaceutics, pharmacology, toxicology, as well as applied outcomes research and helping create a workforce in the research area and potentially academia. With that, we'd welcome any questions.
Great. Members, any questions? Just a quick comment. It's been proven that internships really increase outcomes substantially. So congratulations for requiring that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the University of North Texas Health Science Center for a Doctor of Philosophy degree program in pharmaceutical sciences? Do I have a motion, please? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Please express our appreciation for your leadership back home. Give him our regards. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8B6, consideration and possible action to approve the request from West Texas A&M University for a Doctor of Nursing Practice degree program. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions. Dr. Holly Jeffries, Dean, Dr. Neil Terry, Executive Vice President and Provost for the College of Nursing and Health Science are also available for questions. Mr. Perez, please.
West Texas A&M University is seeking approval to offer a Doctor of Nursing Practice DNP degree. It's a degree program that would begin in the fall of 2026. The proposed program consists of 37 semester credit hours, 1,000 clinical hours, and would be offered in both in-person and hybrid modalities to students in the Panhandle region. The program is designed for nursing professionals seeking to enhance their expertise as nursing leaders and practitioners. A key focus of the program is its application to rural settings, preparing graduates to provide essential medical services, improving access to care, and playing a key role in public health initiatives while addressing population-based health issues. Estimated completion of the program is 3 years, and based on the analysis of requirements in Texas Administrative Code, Section 2.5, General Criteria for Program Approval, the coordinating board staff recommended the proposed program to the commissioner for approval. The commissioner recommends the program for approval by the board.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Holly Jeffries. I'm Dean for the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. Texas is 51st with regards to access to healthcare. Our region is particular to that. 26 of our counties are healthcare professional shortage areas in which we serve. 2 of those are partial, the rest are full. 80% of our graduates stay in our region to provide care in that region. We also know that care and quality of care is directly correlated with educational attainment. So while our students are already serving as primary care providers, psychiatric mental health providers, as well as CEOs and CNOs at 13 of our critical access hospitals, we do believe the higher educational attainment we can provide to our region, the better the outcomes for our region. For that reason, we believe it's pivotal. We had this discussion probably 5 years ago when I came to Dr. Terry and said, we have got to do a doctorate in this region for the outcomes of this. And at the time, we had less than 10% of our own faculty with doctoral degrees, and today we set upwards nearly 80% of our faculty with doctoral degrees. So we've come a long way. We're prepared for this and really excited for the opportunity. And
Great.
happy to answer any questions.
Members, any questions? Real quick, I think I've heard of Texas A&M University, but tell me about West Texas A&M University.
Yeah, well, we would be in the we're the northernmost institution in the state of Texas, and the Texas High Plains, highest elevation, probably the coldest place that you would end up going to in the state of Texas as well. So it'd be one of those things where when we have a Texas A&M system meetings, I think they're always worried that they're going to Alaska and going to be stuck in Amarillo Canyon because it's so much further north and it can be quite a bit colder than the rest of Texas. So cattle and oil and gas would be our areas. And so West Texas is doing pretty well right now given current oil and gas prices and cattle prices.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, members?
I do have a question. You mentioned that currently about over 80% of your graduates stay in West Texas. As you continue to expand, what are your plans to continue those figures?
Well, we have learned, because not a lot of people want to move to West Texas for those reasons, and we have learned the growing our own model. And so that's what we've worked on. We've really focused on regional, and we are a regional institution, the only regional institution in that region. So we focus on that, as well as recruiting others from surrounding states and rural communities.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the request from West Texas A&M University for a Doctor of Nursing Practice degree program? Do I have a motion, please?
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
When we get hot and humid down in Houston, I may come up and visit you.
Agenda item 9 is lunch. We'll hold off on that, but we're going to take a short recess. It is currently 10:57. Let's reconvene in 10 minutes. No business will be discussed during the recess. He was invited to go with the varsity team. His JV team did not. was considered or discussed, a quorum of the board is present. Agenda item 10, we're going to come back to, and we're going to move on to agenda item 11, which is proposed rules. Agenda item 11A is consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 2, Subchapter A, Section 2.6 concerning administrative completeness. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions.
Hello. Coordinating Board proposed adoption of amendments to Board Rule Chapter 2, Subchapter A, Section 2.6, Administrative Completeness. The rules establish clearer criteria for withdrawing and resubmitting an application for a new degree program based on changes made to the proposal after it's deemed administratively complete by the Coordinating Board. The agency received one comment requesting clarifying language that the governing board may designate a system delegate for approval of the resubmitted proposal. The Coordinating Board agreed with the recommendation and updated the proposed rules accordingly. Thank you. Happy to take questions.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Do I have a motion to propose amendments to board rules as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Second. Ms. Thomas, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11B is consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 4, Subchapter B, Section 4.22, and adopt new Section 4.41, concerning transfer of credit, core curriculum, and field of study curricula. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions.
The Coordinating Board proposes adoption of amendments and new rules in Chapter 4, Subchapter B, as part of the implementation of Senate Bill 3039 from the 89th legislative session. Amendments to Section 4.22 update statutory authority, and new rules in 4.41 establish guidelines and required metrics for transfer reporting. So SB 3039 consolidated two existing transfer reports, the report on non-transferable credit and the transfer report. The single report will now be published every other year, and the first combined report will be presented at the October 2026 board meeting. The agency received comments regarding these rules with some recommendations for improving current CBM data collection on credit denials, recommendations for reporting related to the Texas Direct and Field of Study curriculum. Changes to the rule weren't required to address those concerns. Board staff are appreciative for the thoughtful comments from the public and will be reviewing those recommendations and taking them into consideration as we design the new consolidated report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Members, any questions?
Just a comment, Chair, if I may.
Please.
Combined with the rules that the board adopted at the January meeting, which require institutions to designate a transfer liaison and establish clear and effective transfer dispute resolution processes, the rules on today's agenda represent a comprehensive approach to improve pathways and reduce transfer barriers for students. As a student, I transferred a significant number of hours and later became a transfer advisor when I was a member of the faculty. As I've shared previously, transfer effectiveness and efficiency are among my highest priorities as commissioner. The Educate Texas comments highlight a couple of important points that we're already considering. First, we will be updating requirements for transfer course reporting we receive from universities to increase the level of detail and thus the understanding we can garner regarding transfer effectiveness and efficiency. And as Associate Commissioner Perez pointed out, we don't need a rule change to be able to do that. Second, stronger incorporation of the fields of study curricula and the Texas Direct degrees are already under discussion related to community college finance, the General Education and Curriculum Advisory Committee's work to streamline the core, and our transfer reporting. We've done the challenging work to agree upon the first 60 hours in the most often transferred majors. We need to continue and deepen efforts to ensure students are advised into an FOC that provides a transfer guarantee. And again, we don't need a rule change to do that. So I appreciate Educate Texas highlighting those two really important policy items, and we look forward to working with them and other stakeholders as we continue to ensure that transfer is effective and efficient.
Do I have a motion to adopt proposed amendments to board rules as presented?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11C, consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Chapter 4, Subchapter D, Sections 4.83 through 4.85, concerning dual credit partnerships between secondary schools and Texas public colleges. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions.
Thank you. The Coordinating Board proposed adoption of amendments to Chapter 4, Subchapter D of Board Rules concerning dual credit partnerships. This amendment implements the requirements of House Bill 3041 from the 89th legislative session by providing regulations on institutional obligations related to establishing equal access to dual credit courses for homeschool students through institutional agreements with homeschools. The agency worked closely with stakeholders and subject matter experts in developing these final rules. The Coordinating Board received several comments regarding these rules. Board staff made modifications to remove or change confusing language in the rules and updated the definition of homeschool to make it clear it's a private school. And happy to take questions.
Thank you, members. This is what we received public testimony on in support of earlier today. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt proposed amendments to board rules as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. A second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Agenda item 11D is consideration and possible action to adopt new board rules, Chapter 4, Subchapter U, Sections 360 through 365, concerning required degree and course planning. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available for questions.
The Coordinating Board proposes new rules in Chapter 4, Subchapter U of Board Rules concerning required degree and course planning. This new section will implement degree and certificate plan transparency requirements of SB 3039 from the 89th legislative session and update the undergraduate degree planning and course sequence reporting requirements in Texas Education Code Section 51.96852 to better align with updated compliance practices at the Coordinating Board. Board staff used negotiated rulemaking to develop the new rules. We received one comment regarding the rules that expressed concern at the significant level of coordination necessary to meet the requirements. While the Coordinating Board acknowledges the complexity of maintaining all degree and certificate plans across an institution, these rules really reflect the explicit requirements of the statute. Happy to take questions.
Members, any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt new board rules as presented? So moved. Motion by Ms. Thomas, second.
Second.
By Mr. Clemmer. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11E, consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 10, Subchapter C, Sections 1070 through 1072 and 1074 through 1076 concerning statewide preceptorship grant program. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available to answer questions.
Yes, I had to practice that a couple times. The Coordinating Board proposes adoption of amendments to Chapter 10, Subchapter C, as required by Senate Bill 1998 from the 89th legislative session to integrate a pediatric subspecialty into the existing statewide preceptorship grant program. The Coordinating Board used negotiated rulemaking to develop the recommended amendments. We received one comment in support of the amendments. Happy to take questions.
Any questions? Members, do I have a motion to adopt proposed amendments to board rules as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. A motion by Mr. Wilson. Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11F is consideration and possible action to adopt new board rules, Chapter 10, Subchapter F, Sections 10.410 through 10.419, concerning the Behavioral Health Innovation Grant Program. Daniel Perez will present this item and be available to answer any questions.
Thank you. The Coordinating Board proposed new rules in Chapter 10, Subchapter F, to implement the Behavioral Health Innovation Grant Program as required by Texas Education Code 61.9991. The new rules establish regulations for administering the grant program, including but not limited to application and awards processes, eligibility criteria, and reporting and evaluation requirements. The agency used negotiated rulemaking to develop these proposed rules. The program was created in a previous legislative session and funded for the first time this past session, which motivated the agency to create rules so that we could administer the program. Right.
Members, any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt new board rules as presented?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Wilson. Second? Second. Second by Ms. Thomas. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11G is consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 13, Subchapter Q, Section 13505, concerning the financial aid for Swift Transfer FAST program. Dr. Charles Contero-Pools, Assistant Commissioner for Student Financial Aid Programs, will present this item and be available to answer questions.
The proposed amendment to Rule 13.505 revises the manner in which funds are dispersed to institutions through the FAST program. Starting this fall, institutions would receive disbursements based on projections assembled during the summer using prior year FAST data, with a true-up processed after the year ends to reconcile those projections against student eligibility and attendance information. These changes, which do not affect the overall funding level for the program, reflect the agency's experience administering FAST for the last 2 years. By leveraging our improved data infrastructure, we are able to move from a reimbursement model to a formula funding model. This will eliminate hundreds of individual reports that institutions currently submit and that the agency needs to review, thus greatly improving our efficiency in administering the FAST program. This will also provide participating institutions with much greater predictability of their funding. Prior to the start of each academic year, they will receive notice of the specific amounts and specific dates for when the disbursements will occur. The proposed rule is based on input from participating institutions of higher education, as well as the Texas Education Agency, who is our partner in administering the program.
Wonderful. Members, any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt proposed amendments to board rules as presented?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Clemmer, a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wilson. Any discussion? I always like hearing we're driving efficiency and predictability and removing the need for hundreds of reports. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11H is consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 22, Subchapter L, Sections 22, 226 through 230, 22, 233, 234, 236, and 241, and adopt new section 22.235 concerning the Toward Excellence, Access, and Success Texas grant program. Dr. Contero-Pools will present this item to the board and be available to answer any questions.
Thanks. The proposed amendments to the Texas grant rules implement innovative changes to the Texas grant program that were enacted during last year's legislative session. These changes reflect the agency's strategic priorities to foster greater predictability and portability in state financial aid, allowing students entering higher education to have a clearer expectation of their financial circumstances and as well as supporting transfer students who historically have had difficulty securing state grant aid. First, it allows students who completed a non-traditional secondary education, such as homeschooling, to qualify for a Texas grant. It also implements a rider requirement from the General Appropriations Act that institutions must provide a Texas grant to eligible students who graduated in the top 25% of their high school graduating class. Finally, it incorporates the allocation of dedicated funding to support institutions in providing Texas grants to all eligible transfer students who previously received a Texas Educational Opportunity Grant. The legislature not only enacted these changes, but also provided substantial increases in appropriations to support their implementation.
Members, any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt proposed amendments to board rules as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wilson, second. Second, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11I, consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 20, Subchapter B, Sections 2031, concerning definitions. Dr. Brandon Griggs will present this item and be available to answer questions.
Good morning. The proposed amendment to Chapter 20, Subchapter B, Section 2031 expands the definition of undergraduate admission application for Free College Application Week. Under the amendment, the fee waiver would apply to all undergraduate application types and terms. The change is intended to align with rule with Texas Education Code, which directs states to follow, or which would allow the state to allow individuals to apply for undergraduate admission without an application fee during Free College Application Week. Overall, commenters were generally supportive of Free College Application Week because it can improve access and better align with statewide attainment goals. However, institutions expressed that it could increase staff workload, complicate enrollment forecasting, and that the proposal might require fee waivers across all application platforms. In response, the coordinating board has consistently clarified that the amendment only expands eligibility within the Applied Texas system and does not require institutions to waive all fees on other application platforms. Are there any questions from the board?
Thank you, Dr. Riggs. Any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt proposed amendments to board rules as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Thomas. Second?
Second.
Dual seconds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 11J is consideration and possible action to adopt proposed amendments to Board Rules Chapter 24, Subchapter D, Section 2445 concerning loan amount and interest rate. Dr. Charles Quintero Poles will present this item to the board and be available for questions.
The proposed amendment to 24.45 extends the manageable debt calculation to include master's degree students applying for a college access loan. Since its implementation a few years ago, the manageable debt calculation has been applied only to undergraduate students applying for coordinating board loans. Extending this to master's degree students allows the agency to expand its strategic efforts to ensure that Texas students attain post-secondary credentials in a financially sustainable way. I should note that there is a change to these proposed rules in comparison to what was published in the Texas Register to clarify that the new calculation for master's degree students applies only to students who apply for a college access loan on or after October 15th, 2026, to align with the launch of our new student loan management system.
Thank you, Dr. Quintero Poles. Members, any questions? Do I have a motion to adopt proposed amendments to board rules as presented?
So moved.
Second? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Yes, I understand. Thank you. I just wanted to comment that I appreciate all the work that's done on these board rules as well. So thank you for that. Agenda items 12A through C are agency operations and finance items. Agenda item 12A is review of the fiscal year 2026 financial report to the board. This item is for information only. Anthony Infantini, Chief Financial Officer, will present this item and be available to answer any questions.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Infantini, Chief Financial Officer, and I'll present the quarterly financial report. So this report covers our fiscal activities from September of 2025 through February 28th of 2026, which is our first half of fiscal year 26. And this is the first year of our 26 to 27 biennium. So while the agency's budget still largely aligns with the operating budget the board approved last July, we are making adjustments as needed to align our collections and ensure kind of smooth fund disbursement. Overall, financial activity is proceeding as expected, with no concerns to report this quarter. We're closely working across the agency to project both amounts and timing of program expenditures, and are well positioned to effectively administer our remaining funds. Turning over to the student loan and underlying bond portfolio, Our current cash balances are sufficient to meet our projected loan demand for this year without any additional debt issuance. We are currently evaluating the potential refunding of callable bonds this summer, specifically the 2016 series that will be callable on August 1st to reduce our debt service costs. To accomplish this, we completed the required TEFRA hearing in March and are providing disclosures and related materials to the Bond Review Board to meet all our compliance requirements. We also received confirmation from 2 rating agencies of our stable AAA credit rating, positioning us well to achieve the lowest possible borrowing costs should our refunding proceed. Looking ahead, I want to let the board know at our next meeting, we'll present the Legislative Appropriations Request, or LAR, for the 2028 to 29 biennium for board consideration and approval. We are currently working with both the Legislative Budget Board and Governor's Office to structure the request in a way that clearly communicates the funding for our programs and initiatives. And over this next quarter, we'll also determine the base funding request for the 2028 to 29 biennium. That work will inform any exceptional items we may bring forward to the board for consideration in July and subsequently request from the 90th legislature in 2027. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Infantini. Members, do you have any questions? Hearing none, we will move on to the next item. Agenda item 12B is the legislative update. This is for information only. Sarah Keaton, Deputy Commissioner, and Glenna Brun, Associate Commissioner, Public Affairs, will present this item.
Good morning. Good morning. Chair Hawk and board members, I'm Glenna Brun, Associate Commissioner of Public Affairs. I'm here to provide an update on the 2026 interim and the charges put forth. I'll also note our ongoing legislative work from the 89th legislative obligations and current interactions and preparation for the 90th legislative session, which will begin in 39 Fridays. As has been mentioned, the 89th session resulted in strategic investments showing leadership were focused on higher education. They showed that interest and investment through increased funding and through 76 bills, resulting in 125 obligations and 13 studies that our agency is shepherding. 2 of those studies are the General Education Committee, which Deputy Commissioner Dr. David Troutman is coordinating, and he'll speak to you about that during our next board meeting, and the Performance-Based Funding Executive Committee and Legislative Working Group, which Deputy Commissioner Sarah Keaton leads. Sarah's going to share the latest update on the committee work. That committee will be meeting again next week to further develop formula work. Sarah?
Yes. Good morning. So the legislature has assigned the coordinating board the responsibility of leading an executive committee to develop a performance or outcomes-based funding model for four-year universities. The executive committee is made up of 21 representatives from universities
with and support the members of the HRSC and serve on that committee as they develop guidelines. In other good news from session, HB 300, which addresses the Texas Armed Services Scholarship, that scholarship reopened February 27th for nominations. We've held 2 listening sessions for the scholarship to educate legislators and staff on the requirements. This year, more students receive funding than we have had in the history of the program. We intend to keep that uptick in support through continued outreach and education. We'll hold a few more of these webinars for legislators as we get to the final closing date. A total of 185 scholarship appointments can be made for the next academic year, and scholarship appointments must be submitted by September 30th, 2026. We've already had nominations submitted, so I want to thank legislative offices for that diligence. The Texas Armed Services Scholarship began in 2010, and more than 1,700 students have received scholarships totaling $43.6 million. So it makes such a difference. Since our last board meeting, interim charges have been posted. In his charges, the Lieutenant Governor included reviewing the implementation of the Community College Funding Model, reviewing distribution methodology for the Permanent University Fund, the PUF, and the Texas University Fund, the TUF, and monitoring legislation from the 89th session, which involves the HRSC, Ombudsman, and obligations from SB 37. The Speaker of the House has highlighted 8 higher education charges that include monitoring of legislation from the 89th legislative session, looking at the state of higher education, post-secondary education affordability, foreign adversary protections in higher education, which will include the HRSC, increasing credential completion, research competitiveness, aligning advising initiatives, and oversight of state institutions, our agency, as well as the Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station, the Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, the Texas Guaranteed Student Loan Corporation, the Prepaid Higher Education Tuition Board, and the Texas A&M Transportation Institute. Interim hearings are currently being set, during which we will be asked to testify. We will keep you updated on those events as they post and as we are invited to participate. And as we know, those will not just include the higher education committees. Those will be other committees as well that ask us to participate. For further background on our interim work, we continue to engage with legislative leadership daily and ensure we are coordinating with bill authors and stakeholders on the many obligations and studies we are guiding. Another way we are engaging the legislature and stakeholders is through a pre-board briefing. Prior to this board meeting, we welcomed institutional GR and legislative staff to a briefing on the items we're discussing today. We do this in coordination with our board meetings to create a space for open communication and feedback from our legislative stakeholders and to present upcoming rulemaking, timelines, and agency updates. Also, as a continuing update on our new internal legislative tracking system that we've been working diligently on, it will support the agency through the 90th legislative session and is on schedule and is in the testing phase. In closing, I want to highlight a few dates for your calendars again. Session begins January 12th. Pre-filing of bills begins November 9th and ends March 12th. And 140 days later, we end session on May 31st. And again, that's 20 Fridays to do all the good work. We thank you for your work that you do for Texas students and their families, and we'll continue to keep you abreast of upcoming hearings and the work we're doing to further higher education. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Thank you, Mrs. Keaton. And Vern, did you have a comment? Yes, thank you. Members, hearing none, we'll move back to item agenda 10, which is reports. Item agenda 10A, consideration and possible action to approve the Commissioner and Formula Advisory Committee's recommendations relating to funding formulas for use by the Governor and the Legislative Budget Board in making appropriations recommendations to the appropriate legislative committees. Andy McLaurin, Assistant Commissioner for Funding and Resource Planning, will present this item and be available to answer any questions. The Formula Advisory Committee chairs, Joseph Duran and Kristen Nace, are also available for questions. Welcome.
Good morning, Chair Hawk, board members, Commissioner. I'm Andy McLaurin, Assistant Commissioner of Funding. Today, I'll present a high-level summary of the recommendations of 2 Formula Advisory Committees, or FACs. These recommendations have been discussed with and endorsed by Commissioner Rosser. After my brief overview, the chairs of both FACs will briefly address the committee and be available for questions. I'd like to thank Joseph Duran and Kristen Nace for their time and effort in leading the FACs and for being here today. Thank you, guys. I want to mention at the outset that the FAC process is separate and distinct from the Performance-Based Funding Executive Committee that you just heard about from Deputy Commissioner Keaton. The PBF Executive Committee process is similar to the FAC process in some ways. Both are examples of a coordinating board-led effort to bring together a diverse group of our higher education partners to collaboratively deliberate, reach consensus on, and make funding-related recommendations to the legislature. However, the work of the PBF committee is independent from and did not directly impact the FAC recommendations. First slide, please. To lay the groundwork, the state provides the majority of funding to our institutions of higher education through various funding formulas. These formulas allocate funds based on set metrics that are unique to each sector of higher education. The coordinating board is statutorily required to provide recommendations on higher education formulas to the LBB and the governor's office each summer prior to the legislative session. Additionally, statute requires us to use a committee review process to develop these recommendations. We have 2 separate FACs. One develops recommendations for the general academic institutions, public state colleges, or the Lamar system, and technical colleges. This is the GAI FAC. There's also a committee specific to the health-related institutions, or HRIs, and this committee is called the HRI FAC. These recommendations are used as signals from the institutions to the board on what state policymakers should consider in setting higher education finance policy. Next slide. This slide shows the timeline of the FAC process, which begins shortly after the end of a legislative session. The FACs meet on an ongoing basis and develop a report with final recommendations addressing the charges given by the commissioner, statute, rider, or the legislature. The FAC reports are finished in January of even years, and then we bring the recommendations before this board in the spring of even years for adoption. After coordinating board adoption, we send the FAC recommendations to the legislature and the governor. In the next 3 slides, I'll cover the charges and recommendations for the GAI FAC. Next slide, one more. Thank you. The first 3 charges shown on this slide are required by statute. You'll notice that there's a charge on funding levels for GAIs, for public state colleges, or the Lamar system, and for technical colleges, or the TSTC system. In addition, the Commissioner asked the GAI FAC to review whether coordinating board staff should collect additional facilities data elements for inclusion in certain formulas. Next slide. This slide lays out the recommendations of the committee. The committee recommended increasing the rates of all funding formulas for inflation and enrollment growth. This would be for all formulas that support the 4-year institutions, including instruction, infrastructure, and research. This increase also applies to the main formula, instruction and administrative, that provides funding for the Lamar State College system. On the right-hand side of this slide is a recommendation on the Small Institution Supplement, or SIS, formula. The recommendation would expand the SIS to provide increased foundational investments for smaller institutions to ensure continued access to higher education in every region of the state. The recommendation is to increase the headcount enrollment threshold for institutions to receive the SIS from 5,000 to 10,000 students, while increasing the maximum headcount to receive phased-down funding from 10,000 to 20,000 students. It also includes increasing the SIS biennial maximum to $5 million. Next slide. Along the left-hand side of this slide, you'll see the recommendation relating to the Lamar State College system. The recommendation would be to update the state college's critical fields list, which is similar to the community college high demand fields list, by removing, updating, and adding critical fields that have either current or planned corresponding state college course offerings. For the Texas State Technical College system, the FAC recommends maintaining the current funding percentage of the returned value formula to continue using the American Community Survey wage data and to add the Comal Guadalupe County campus to the 28-29 General Appropriations Act bill pattern and respective formula calculations. For the final charge, after hearing from subject matter experts, the FAC had no additional recommendation to add or change any of the existing data collection processes at this time. The FAC met with a leading company that specializes in facility condition assessments to explore potential data inputs to enhance the facility's condition component. It was determined, based on the extensive data set reviewed, that the age of facilities alone is not a primary driving factor in the maintenance and renovation needs of an existing building. Next slide. Next slide. Moving on to the HRI FAC. The first charge is a review of the funding levels and rates for the different HRI formulas. The second charge is a review of formula weights and also considers several new specialty programs for inclusion. Next slide. All of the HRIs receive funding through the four main formulas. This includes funding for instruction of students, facility operations, research, and for medical and dental residents. The committee recommended increasing the rates for these formulas for 1/3 of the full cost of inflation and then funding any growth in the formula drivers. This would be part of a plan to increase rates by 1/3 of the cost of inflation over 3 consecutive biennia. Additionally, the FAC recommended increasing the GME rate by an additional 20% to cover the increasing costs of training in the outpatient setting. The FAC recommends new weights to the instruction and operations formula to account for the increased cost for graduate nursing, allied health, and behavioral health programs. Right now, those are funded at the same level as undergraduate nursing or allied health programs. The recently approved behavioral health degree program at UTHSC Houston began enrolling students last fall, and those courses would be eligible for the new weight, as well as behavioral health courses in other programs at the other HRIs. The HRI FAC also considered optometry for inclusion in the HRI formulas, but concluded that it more appropriately should remain within the purview of the GAI FAC. This referral of optometry back to the GAI FAC occurred near the end of the deliberative process, so the GAI FAC did not have an opportunity to discuss the issue, but rather it will be included among its next round of charges. I'll now turn it over to Mr. Joseph Duran, who chaired the GAI FAC, and Mr. Duran will be followed by Ms. Kristen Nace, who chaired the HRI FAC.
Howdy. First, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Roster and your staff. Andy and Jennifer have been a great help in helping our committee get in the data we needed. I'd like to also thank our committee members. You know, as I wasn't chair last time I was on this committee, but as chair, you really don't have to do a whole lot. Your committee members do all the work and writing the reports. So I'm very appreciative of the work that they put into to our recommendations here before you. I'd like to say that, number one, as representing the general academics, we are, number one, appreciative of the legislature and the funding that they have invested into higher education. I know that the affordability initiative and the dollars, significant dollars that have been put in have been very helpful in our institutions and our board's directive to keep our undergraduate tuition fees level. And so it's a good thing for our students and parents and those involved in higher ed. So number one, I do want to say that those dollars are very much appreciative. As we look forward into the next biennium, I think our goal is, number one, to maintain that level of funding. Andy mentioned that part of our recommendation is to look at the inflation pressures that have been put on all of us here and all of our state agencies and then the public in general. And so I think that is something that we would like to have be considered. Andy mentioned enrollment growth. I think that's important as well. as our institutions continue to recruit and work on retaining the kids that we have. And lastly, Andy mentioned the small institution supplement and the recommendation to increase. Those dollars are important, especially, when I speak as part of the A&M system. A lot of our institutions are rural, smaller in general, and those dollars go a long way in helping provide the services that our students need and deserve. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Good morning. How is everyone? I hope everyone is well. On behalf of the HRI Formula Advisory Committee, we are grateful for the opportunity to participate in the review of the Commissioner's recommendations for the upcoming biennium. We also thank the 89th Texas Legislature for maintaining formula funding levels that have supported enrollment growth across the state. The Formula Advisory Committee recommends that the legislature continue to fund growth to meet our population-driven demand. In addition, we ask for consideration of a phased 3 biennium increase to formula rates that have not increased since 2020. This will help to offset inflationary costs that impact every aspect of our operations. We also considered as a group the higher cost associated with certain graduate programs, namely the Graduate Allied Health, Graduate Nursing, and Graduate Behavioral Health, as well as the addition of the optometry program. While our committee had unanimous support for nearly all recommendations, we do acknowledge that the Graduate Behavioral Health recommendation clear precedents for the process used by the committee. Not all institutions agreed with the determination, and the report reflects the majority decision. Thank you again for providing the opportunity for the HRI Formula Advisory Committee to be involved in this process. And I'm here for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Yes, please.
Ms. Nace, Mr. Duran, thank you very much for your service as chair and especially for the work of your committees. The Formula Advisory Committees are a significant way we engage stakeholders in one of the most important policy areas that the board administers, which is funding. So appreciate you both for the role that you played. Andy, Sarah, thank you for your executive leadership. And I really want to highlight Melita and Jennifer for their work in supporting the committees, as both chairs noted. It's a significant responsibility, and unsolicited, both chairs have praised Melita and Jennifer for their work. So I really appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the Commissioner and Formula Advisory Committee's recommendations as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wilson, second. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you both very much, or all of you. All right. Agenda item 12C is litigation update. This item will be heard later in the agenda. Agenda item 13 is auditor items. Agenda item 13A is auditor's update on internal audit reports and activities. Hillary Eckford, Assistant Commissioner for Internal Audit and Institutional Assurance, will present this item. It's for information only.
First presentation to the board.
Ms. Eckford, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Hillary Eckford, and I serve as the Assistant Commissioner for Internal Audit and Institutional Assurance. The internal audit team is currently working on 4 ongoing internal audits. In addition to those 4 audits, the State Auditor's Office is currently conducting 2 audits here at the agency. One of those audits is on the Educational Loan Repayment Program, and we're anticipating the draft report out this June. The second audit the SAO is conducting is an efficiency audit, which is in the planning process currently, and the final report will be issued by November the 1st. The institutional assurance team has completed 3 projects since the last previous board meeting on the institution's compliance with sexual misconduct reporting requirements. These final reports are included in your packet and for your review. In addition to those 3 reports, the team continues to conduct federal compliance monitoring activities, follow up on prior findings, and compliance projects related to community college funding. Specifically for community college funding, there's been a sizable increase identified in a few of the fundable outcomes reported by the colleges for FY25, which this team is currently reviewing the accuracy of. This concludes my prepared updates, and I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Thank you, Ms. Eckford. Members, do we have any questions?
No, just welcome aboard and thank you for leading your team, and we look forward to great things in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
All right, we'll move on to the next item. We'll now return to agenda item 12C1, discussion and possible action regarding Paxton versus Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. This item will be heard in closed session over lunch. And pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.074, personnel matters, the board will meet in executive session to discuss Paxton versus the Higher Education Coordinating Board and personnel matters. No other business of the board will be discussed, and no final action will be taken in closed session. It is now 11:55 a.m., and we will convene in executive session. Board members will meet in room 12102 for the closed meeting, and we'll make an announcement when we reconvene in open session. Thank you. Concluded. No action was taken during executive session. Hey, you two. We'll move to agenda item number 14, which is adjournment. This concludes our meeting. It is now 12:33 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for our meeting today. Just a couple notes. I believe our agenda is scheduled through 27. For our meeting schedule, we'll send out calendar invites for everyone. And then also, we'll be in touch. We are anticipating posting a board retreat this year as well, potentially in the first half of September. So we'll get you those dates as soon as we have them in further details if that materializes. All right. Everyone have a great day. Thank you.